what we see today, there's something called neuroplasticity. In your brain, if you damage an area, if you believe it will heal, your brain is sending more signals, more neural pathways to heal the area. But if you don't believe you will heal, the opposite will happen. It will actually affect the area to where it will start to decay and become diseased.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the Digest This podcast. I'm your host, Bethany Cameron. Today we have Dr. Josh Axe on the show, and he's back for the second time to talk about his new book, Think This, Not That, and how our minds can truly affect how our physical body can heal or not heal, and how it feels in the moment, because our mind affects so many physical ailments and can truly be the missing link to healing whatever situation you're going through. We talk about cancer, how his mother beat cancer twice, how he himself has dealt with a life-threatening issue where he was almost paralyzed. I mean, he was diagnosed. They said he was going to be paralyzed. And if you guys know all about Dr. Josh Axe, I mean, he is the gut health guru. He is just a wealth of knowledge. And for him personally to go through such a health crisis and share his story is truly amazing. I mean, he had to go on antibiotics. So we talk about how to heal during antibiotics as well as after, and replenishing the gut. This is really a meal plan for your mind. And if anyone is going through something, going through the weeds with a medical issue, or maybe you know someone going through a really tough medical issue, this is just such an encouraging podcast that I myself am going to listen to over and over again to just reinstate and just affirm myself of healing. And it's just gonna uplift any single person that listens to. I feel like I'm just rambling because I'm just so excited for all of you guys to listen to this, and maybe even grab some tissues because it's a little teary-eyed at some points. So without further ado, let's get right into the episode. If you use a dishwasher, then listen up. There was a fairly new study published in the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology that discovered commercial dishwashers and rinse agents can negatively affect gut health. According to the study, the residue from rinse agents is often left behind on dishes after they are cleaned in dishwashers. This residue damages the natural protective layer in the gut that can contribute to the onset of chronic diseases and have been linked to colon inflammation and microbiota disruption. I was shocked when I read this and quite disturbed, to be honest. I mean, here we are doing all the things to help rebuild and protect our gut and gut lining, and we are being bombarded daily by those little tablets we use to clean our dishes on the daily. So if you haven't ditched your dishwasher tablets, now is the time. Thankfully, you don't have to ditch your dishwasher and start washing everything by hand, because Branch Basics has a non-toxic dishwasher tablet you can use instead. I started using them over a year ago and love the convenience of a dishwasher tablet that is free from gut-disrupting harmful ingredients. Branch Basics dishwasher tablets are plant and mineral-based, fragrance-free, biodegradable, and they get the job done. So if you want to clean up your home and your health by using Branch Basics, they're offering my listeners 15% off. Just use code LITTLESIPPER at checkout to receive a discount. I recommend starting with, obviously, their dishwasher pods. They also have a starter kit to clean all the things in your home, not just your dishes. So just go check them out. Again, you can go to branchbasics.com and enter code LITTLESIPPER at checkout. That's LILSIPPER at checkout to receive a discount. All right, you guys have heard me talk about endocrine disruptors many times. Now, these toxins are in the food we eat due to pesticides and packaging, our home food storage containers, our cookware, drinkware, laundry detergent, soaps and shampoos, and yes, even our cosmetics. That's why it's so important to choose a clean skincare. And we all wash our face daily, at least we should, right? And we all use creams and serums. So if we're already using them, why not make the switch to a safer version that uses non-toxic ingredients? Last year, I had the privilege to start using Alitura, which is a clean skincare company that is clean certified and uses all natural, nutrient rich ingredients grown on Earth. This brand was actually created by a male model named Andy, who got in a severe accident while crossing the street. This resulted in a collapsed lung, 7 broken ribs, and a severe compounded fracture of his jaw, broken in 5 places. Out of desperation to repair his own facial scarring, he began making his own natural skincare products at home. Andy carefully sourced active ingredients to help accelerate his skin's healing process. And 8 weeks later, he was back on the runway. And that's how Alitura all began. I personally love their clay mask, gold serum, and facial pearl cleanser. They also have a non-toxic unisex perfume that both my husband and I love. And to be honest, neither of us really like scents of any kind. No candles, no perfumes, nothing. But when I got the PR package last year and opened up the perfume bottle and sprayed it, my husband was like, dang, I actually like that. And I was so glad to hear that because I really liked it too. You just need 1 small spritz and it lasts all freaking day. It's a sensual blend of yang yang flower, cedar, sandalwood, and cardamom, all created using clean, natural, and organic ingredients. This is a luxury scent made without toxic additives, parabens, phthalates, sulfates, aluminum, dyes, gluten, mineral oil, or silicone. It even won Editor's Choice of the Chalkboard. Alitura's line of skincare is a new addition to my routine, and I am loving it. So if you want to ditch the toxins and experience clean beauty that actually works, I highly suggest Alitura. If you go to Alitura's website, in the About section, they have before and after photos and testimonials of consumers' cystic acne and their scarring. And it shows the before, like I said, the before and after of their skin clearing up in just weeks. It truly is amazing. And what else is amazing is that Alitura has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you really have nothing to lose. Try it. And if you don't like it or aren't satisfied, you can get your money back within 30 days. They also gave me a discount to pass along to my listeners. You can get 20% off by using code DIGEST. Just go to alitura.com and use code DIGEST at checkout to get 20% off. Again, that's alitura.com and use code DIGEST. Thank you so much, Dr. Axe, for coming back on the show for the second time.
Hey, Bethany, thanks for having me. Excited to chat all things mindset, gut health, and healing.
Yes, you are literally the gut health guru, and you just came out with a book yesterday called Think This, Not That. And I love it because so many people nowadays are realizing that it's not just about nutrition. Yes, that's a big part, but it's a lot about the mindset and what that has to do and how it impacts our physical health.
Yeah, well, one of the things I think that I realized as I overcame a health battle myself and my mom beat cancer and I helped a lot of people overcome autoimmune disease and gut issues is that a lot of healing starts in our mind. We want to focus on food as medicine. I know you and I talk about that a lot. We also want to focus on mindset medicine. And for anyone out there who wants to heal or reach their optimal level, we want to do everything we can, both including from the nutritional side, but also the lifestyle and mindset side. And so when you look at the studies today, it is probably more important than people realize that they have positive thoughts and that they are actually thinking about and visualizing themselves healing because here's an example of this, the placebo effect. The placebo effect has been around since around Well, it's been around since the beginning of time, but in terms of the name, the term coined, that's back in World War I. And so what was happening is they ran out of morphine for these wounded soldiers who had lost limbs and were in excruciating pain. And so the doctor realized, well, I'm just going to give them a sugar pill and just see what happens. Well, over 30% of those soldiers, about one third of them, had the same amount of pain relief as if they were taking morphine. I mean, that's really extraordinary. And so that really is what kicked off using placebo in a lot of studies. But what was happening is those soldiers were believing that they were healed, they were pain free. So their brain was sending nerve signals and hormones and a number of things to actually help heal and numb the area. And what we see today, there's something called neuroplasticity. In your brain, if you damage an area, if you believe it will heal, your brain is sending more signals, more neural pathways to heal the area. But if you don't believe you will heal, the opposite will happen. It will actually affect the area to where it will start to decay and become diseased. Here's an example of this too. So the placebo effect is sort of this positive outcome that can happen through the power of belief. Well, what happens through the negative power of believing something negative? There was a case study done many years ago of of somebody who was diagnosed with liver cancer, and he was told he had 3 months to live, and the man died 3 months later. Well, upon autopsy, they went and found, no, they misdiagnosed him. He didn't have liver cancer, and he died 3 months later, and it was just a small benign tumor in his liver. He could have lived another 30 to 40 years. All that being said, it is really, really important that we activate the healing power of our mind if we're going to heal from leaky gut or Crohn's or colitis or overall just have our best health. So what I cover in my book, Think This, Not That, is really the 12 things that we have to be thinking and doing to live and feel our best.
Wow. Yeah. And that's amazing, perfect examples on both sides and how you can heal and also how you can really deteriorate your body just by how you're thinking. And you wrote this book in a time in your life personally that you were going through something. And I wanted to ask if you were able to share that with my audience, because a lot of people may not know what you had recently just experienced.
Yeah, I talked about this on my podcast recently, and I called it the healing mindset because I think it was so important. And then I did a post on Instagram too, which we've gotten so much. It's been so encouraging. I have so many great supporters and people who have been praying for me. And so let me share what I went through. So quite a few years ago, I had injured my back weightlifting. I herniated a disc, I bulged a disc, and it was really painful. And I ate really healthy and exercised. I got chiropractic adjustments. I got acupuncture. I got all the things you can imagine. And it got probably 50% better. But for years, I had this nagging pain in my back. And I thought, I'm going to go and get stem cell done. Stem cells where they take your bone marrow and your blood, they concentrate it, and they'll re-inject it back in an area to help speed healing and increase the healing. Well, I went and got this done, and I got about 70 to 80% better from that. And it got me back to where I was weightlifting again and swimming and cycling and doing everything I wanted to, but I still had a little bit of a nagging ache. And I thought, well, I'm going to go get this done one more time, and it should get back to 100%. Well, this happened about a little over a year and a half ago. I got the injection again. And again, it's your natural stem cells from my own body. But something just didn't feel right this time. And after the course of a few days, I felt worse and worse and worse. 3 months later, I just got to the point where it just hurt to walk at all. And then I woke up and I thought, well, maybe I just re-injured it doing something. And then I finally did one day, essentially woke up and it's like, I had so much pain, I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. And I had to call an ambulance, come and pick me up. I'm living in Puerto Rico at the time. I was living between there and Nashville, but I was in Puerto Rico and had to have an ambulance come pick me up. And it's so hard. I've got a daughter who is almost 3 and she's crying, why is daddy going to the hospital? That was really kind of emotionally challenging. And then I get the MRI report back and it says that I have a spinal infection and that the infection has gone from my disc into my bone and even outside of the bone and abscess by the spinal cord, which is life-threatening. And so I had to take a medical plane, like a flight from Puerto Rico to Florida. I went and met with an infectious disease specialist. And here's what he told me. He said, Josh, listen, your best case scenario is you're going to have pain the rest of your life and you are going to be the first person to know when bad weather comes through. First off, he didn't have the best bedside manner, but anyways, that's what he told me. And he said, listen, the worst case scenario is you're going to be permanently disabled. And this is life threatening. And I said, okay. And he said,
how did you feel about, like, in the moment? I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to, like, when you got that news, like, in that moment, how did you feel?
well, I'm a pretty positive person, but there were emotions that I had not experienced up until that point. After that diagnosis and after probably the next 48 hours, I had felt despair and hopelessness. And I'd never really felt those. I'd never like despair of like, how could this even turn out good? Like, how could I ever get back to where I was, sort of idea, especially when this was not necessary. Like, I didn't have to go get this done. I was still pretty in great shape. And for me to have to think about not being able to walk or, again, paralyzed, I mean, a number of those things. I mean, it was incredibly hard, incredibly hard. And so for about 48 hours, I just sat and, and I searched online, and everything you read about spinal infection, the thing I had, this osteomyelitis, and it was not good. And then I realized, you know what, this is not serving me. Me focusing on the negative, me going down the rabbit holes of all the people that had this and how bad they ended up. This is not serving me. And I realized I needed to fix my eyes on God. I needed to believe that I could be healed 100%. And I knew the power of neuroplasticity and the ability to heal, the body's ability to heal. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to switch my mindset. I'm going to visualize and know that I will be healed. I'm going to believe God's going to heal me, and I'm going to do everything I can in my power to heal. And I'm not going to worry about the outcome. I'm just going to do my best. And I felt like a relief. And can I tell you something else? I haven't shared this many times. I share this in my book, and I share this story. I'm going to share some details here. I go in greater detail in the book of all the things. But I looked out my window in the room I was in. And I have a picture of this, and I actually posted this to the Instagram story I posted to, of me in the ambulance and everything else. But I looked out my window, and there was just this rainbow in the sky, like this little window in this room, and I just saw a rainbow. And here's the crazy thing: I saw that rainbow, and then a month later, when I was at my lowest point, I saw a rainbow again in the same way. And then I was in a van somewhere going to get a treatment. I saw one again. So 3 times I just saw like this rainbow in these little windows. And I just felt like God was saying, like, listen, I promise I'm going to heal you. And so going back to this, then the doctor recommended most of them recommend I get on antibiotic IV for 6 weeks and then get on another antibiotic pill for 6 weeks. Okay. And I also, while I was healing, realized that my number one priority was healing my back, but also I didn't want to destroy my gut in the process and my mitochondria and my cells and the things I know the side effect are of antibiotics. So I put together a plan of what are the best things I can do to also help my body fight infection and heal. And I came across a study on hyperbaric chamber that was pretty tremendous. And ozone therapy, getting ozone IVs and vitamin IVs, and then also eating very specifically, and also what could I do to protect my gut? And I'm a big believer. And I feel like I'm one of the world's experts on gut health in terms of the things that I've studied, but I also know I don't know everything. So I called some of the most brilliant doctors I know, people like Jordan Rubin and Dan Pompa and Gezagoli, and just some really amazing people. And so put together a protocol. And so what I did was, a couple of weeks later, I was able to finally get started on a program. And a week in, though, I did not feel better. I kept feeling worse. And I thought, gosh, I don't know if this is working. And that's where also it just became very hard thinking if this is something else. But then about day 8 or 9, that second week of doing everything, I started feeling a little bit better. And so what I did was I did IV antibiotics. And this, by the way, this is the first time I'd probably taken a medication. Maybe one other time I had to take something small for a day after getting that one procedure, but I really hadn't taken a medication since high school. And I'm in my 40s. So that was like when I was 18, 19, probably 18 years old. So I try and not do chemicals and drugs at all costs. But I got on the IV antibiotics. I started getting in a hyperbaric chamber for 2 hours every day. I started getting ozone IVs and vitamin IVs every day, including something called methylene blue. I started doing local injections of ozone. I only ate meat and vegetables, pretty much soup for that whole time. And taking herbs that I knew would be beneficial, silver, a number of things, loads of probiotics, loads. And then I took a little bentonite clay, some psyllium. Anyway,
So
I
you
ate
were
very.
following your doctor's medication orders all while doing simultaneously some Eastern medicine as well.
Yeah. Well, I would say Eastern, but also just natural medicine. But
Okay.
yes, yes. And then I was able to. What I read in this one study is hyperbaric chamber can cut down antibiotic use. And there was one study on somebody who had a spinal infection. Actually, a small group of people. I want to say it was 8 people, and they were all able to get rid of their spinal infection, eliminate the infection in just 4 weeks if they were in a hyperbaric chamber every day.
Explain
And
what
so
that is for people that
So
don't
what a
know.
hyperbaric chamber is, hyperbaric chambers are, you get into a sort of an enclosed little pod. You can get these at home. Now I got in a hard unit because it's a lot strong. It's stronger. Home units do 1.3 ATA. These ones at clinics can do 2.5, which sounds only a little better, but it's actually probably like maybe 10 to 50 times stronger. So it's actually a lot stronger. But I got in there, and what it does is a hyperbaric chamber, it takes oxygen and it compresses it deep into your body and cells. Okay. So if you just breathe in oxygen, you're getting it into your system, but it's not going deep into your cells. So it really compresses and drives it into your cells and deeper in the body. Mine was in my disc, which is really hard to get oxygen to. So we went and I got in there. And we've probably heard this before, but certain things, pathogens have a harder time living in an oxygenated environment. This is why fitness is so important, but it's also why things like ozone or just oxygen can help in healing. But that's what I did for 4 weeks. Is I did that, and then I was able to get off those antibiotics, and then just continued healing. So I was able to cut my antibiotic use down maybe by 67% by doing all the things I did naturally. And I can say, I had a little bit after being on antibiotics for 4 weeks. I, had maybe a little bit of a looser stool for a few months, maybe even just 1 month. And then it was just back to normal. Another thing I did, and your audience is probably familiar with this, post those treatments, I did FMT capsules, fecal matter transplant capsules, for about a month. And then I also just started doing a lot of these soil-based organism probiotics, postbiotics, prebiotics. There's a probiotic I take called Probiotic Trinity by Ancient Nutrition, and I really like that because the postbiotics in there are very strong. So anyways, I did that, and then my gut health now. And so anyways, to finish the story, I didn't walk for 10 months. And then I was on a walker for 2 months. So I didn't walk on my own for a year. So this had happened back in around July 1st. And then I started walking on my own on a walker in May. And then one thing I wanted to do was I was scheduled to officiate my sister-in-law's wedding, which was mid-June, end of June. So that was really the first time mid-June that I was able to walk on my own. And I was able to officiate the wedding, which is amazing. And now I'd say I'm about 80% recovered. Now, this time last year that you and I were talking, exactly 1 year ago, I had not walked yet. I hadn't walked for another 6 weeks. So but I'm lifting weights now. I'm swimming. I am able to carry my daughter. I have
You just
yeah, I mean,
had another child, right?
yeah. We just had another
Congratulations.
baby, second girl. I'm a girl dad and loving it. And so so really blessed, really blessed. And so yeah, I'm going to get back to 100% by the end of this year. And I'm already better now than the doctor said I could even be. And this is why it's so important to remember, if you get a diagnosis, a lot of times doctors will go in and tell you, you've got to live with this the rest of your life, or there is no other way, or you have to take this drug the rest of your life. And that's a lie. It's not real. It's not a reality. And here's what I think that people do. People focus on what the average person does, okay, and thinks that will be my result. Don't do that. Go and find what's the top 1% of people that have healed, had the greatest level of healing, and only focus on them and what they've done. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because I went and I started reading about, okay, who are the 1% that healed and what did they do? I'm going to do everything they did and more.
Who did you look up to at that time?
Well, there are people who I grew up in Ohio. There's a football player. His name was Ryan Shazier. He had a spinal fracture and was told he may be permanently paralyzed, and he started walking. And again, I just went online and searched. I had a group of, it was actually a couple of doctors or chiropractors, and I ended up talking to them because their daughter had a spinal infection. And they told me, they said, Josh, she's back now 100%. But it took almost 3 years for her to get there. But she did. She got back to 100%. And so I talked to them, learned everything they did, and realized that, you know what, it may take time, but I will get back to 100%. And so for me, when I think from start to finish, it probably will take just over 2 years. So that's a long time healing. But I think their testimony, a couple others I saw online, were just really encouraging to me. And I'm a person of faith as well. I mean, I spent time reading the Bible and just believing, in God's promises. But I'll just say that, again, like, I really focused on that top 1%. And I knew this from my clinic. When I had people come in, I had hundreds of people with type 2 diabetes and autoimmune disease come in and reverse it. And their doctors would have told them, you can't reverse type 2 diabetes. Mm. Well, I saw it every week. People reverse their type 2 diabetes. So I knew that these doctors, the problem is they just don't have the tools to they've never taken a nutrition course. There's not one. Think about that. When you're a medical doctor, you don't have one single nutrition course you ever take. You don't get one single course on infrared sauna or hyperbaric chamber or vitamin IVs, any of it.
1 in 3 adults don't consume enough protein. And if you want to build muscle, lose fat, keep your immune system strong, and have all-day energy, then you should be eating at least 1 gram of protein per pound of